Hey guys, welcome back to Shapr3D. So most of you know how to add text, but do you know how to add text to rounded objects? That's the question. So I'm going to show you a method today. It's not the best. Shapr is still a little basic in terms of wrapping text around objects, so we have to do every step manually. But basically, once we have that text, if we simply project it onto the shape, it deforms around the shape as if it's trying to go in a straight line. So what we need to do, like I said, is manually one step at a time, and we can't sketch on rounded objects, so that's a no-go either. So let me go ahead and show you the method that I use. That's probably the simplest method that we currently have in Shapr. So we start out by centering the objects. It's very important. If you have it centered, you can work around the center. It's much simpler, easier to guess the numbers, the dimensions, etc. So let's go ahead and draw a square in the place where we think we want our text. So let's go ahead and make sure it's a uniform square based from the center, not a diagonal or etc., but make sure it's in the center. Let's make it 10 by 10, and we are going to move this out to the outside of the bottle, of the potion bottle, so that we can work with it in terms of projection. But before that, let's go ahead and write there our letter, the first letter, which is H for heel, and we're going to move both the square and the letter outside the box. Make sure you turn off section view so you can actually see what you're doing, and we can select it from the menu, or we can double click. That's up to you. Then we simply use the move tool, move it out, in this case by 30 millimeters, and we have our first letter. So after that, we need the E, A, and L, right? And the easiest way to accomplish that is to select the square, put the center axis somewhere in the center, and rotate it however you see fit. So in this case, 20 degrees looks pretty good. That's how I want it. Let's make 4 boxes just like it. All right, now that we have our boxes, again, manually every step of the way, we select the square we want to add the text to. We click Add Text, type in the new letter, click Continue, and then click OK, or Done in this case. And then we repeat the same process for every letter that we're doing this for. Again, this is because it's a rounded object, so it's a bit more complex. We have no wrapping text in Shapr yet, but this is, again, a workaround for those who absolutely need it, because even like, for example, in Pusher Slicer, it still deforms it. So in this case, as you can see, if you do one at a time, everything is lined up perfectly, because it's basically coming from that exact angle going onto your round object. And when you do it one at a time, it does not deform it. And I'll show you how it deforms it a little bit later in the video. But in this case, I'm just going to show you the whole process, so you can basically, after I finish, you can go and start your own project before I start talking about other issues that maybe you don't care about. So let's go ahead and finish this off. So I pulled it out, or extruded it by 0.4, and now I can even, for example, chamfer or fillet it. And again, if you do this one at a time, it's much simpler. Yes, it's more time consuming, but it works, versus you having selected everything and then click the button and it doesn't work and you have to go back and reselect everything. So yes, this part of Shapr is a bit laborious, but if you go into the visualizer, you can see that the result is stunning. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it does work. You just have to work a bit harder. So now that we have this, let me show you a different method that you can use. That's a little bit harder, but just as an alternative method that you can use as well, because I don't want to leave you with just one option, right? There's always option A, option B, and sometimes even option C. So again, there's more options, but this is another one. So we start out the same way with the first letter, or at least the box, so that we have the placeholder of where we want our text. Now we add the letter, and we click return to go down and make it vertical instead of linear. And now we are going to select the letters and revolve them around the center axis. And we only need to revolve the last 3 letters, not the first H. The H is staying in place. And obviously this would be simpler if I just deleted the square at this point, but select those letters, and you make sure you go to the center axis point and you revolve those. Again, we did by 20 degrees last time, and make sure you press the correct arrow, because you see I clicked the wrong arrow. Now we have to go back. Make sure you press the 0, because if you click undo, it'll unselect everything. So make sure you click 0 millimeters in this case, so it moves back to its original place. And then we use the correct arrow this time, hopefully, to rotate it by 20 degrees. And then we deselect the E, which is the next letter in line, and we continue the rotation with the next letter. So now we rotate it again by 20 degrees, and we deselect the A, and now we just rotate the last letter, which is the L. And now what we have to do is match the Z height, the Z dimension. So we look on the bottom of the letters, we press and look on the bottom, it shows you the Z. And I know these numbers are a bit off, so make sure you remember correctly. And obviously I messed up here. Let me check again if I can click the right thing. So 0.27 more. Let's go raise it up a little bit more, and this time I'll remember the number. So you select now, instead of one at a time, you can select both of them, but the number is basically the same between each letters depending on what you chose earlier. So select both letters, and then you use the move tool to move it up. Then you select one more after this, and it deselects sadly, but anyways, you select them all, click the move tool, go up again by the same amount, in this case 12.8513, and now we have them all lined up. And like I said earlier, you still have to project them one at a time manually, because if you do them all at a time, it does the same thing as when we kind of projected the straight line, which is it deformed it around the rounded object, and it's not as evident on a 4-letter word like this, and for example, but let's move it in a good place here where it looks good, and then project it so you can see. So basically, if we add those letters, it almost looks like it's not deforming it, right? But if you want to test it out, make sure, let's go ahead and copy those around one more time, just so you can see that I'm not lying to you. So go ahead and select them all, and then we're going to just use the move rotate tool around the center axis again. Copy it over. Let's do 80 degrees. That's an exact fit. And now we're going to go ahead and try to project them all and show you that, yes, in fact, it does still deform once you actually project it onto there. So let's go ahead and select those because it deselected. But as you can see, it's sliding further and further to the right. And at that point, you can't even see the last 2 letters. So again, you have to do them one at a time. Not the best process, but this is the best workaround we have right now. And I'm absolutely sure that Shapr will fix this in the future. But as you know, these things take time, and you have to make sure that the letter is projected in the direct path of wherever angle you have written down there. So hope you guys learned something. I know this is not the best topic. It's a hard one, but don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Use this method, perfect all your projects. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Here at Shapr3D, our goal is to inspire and empower you to create your own amazing projects. Please support our work so that we can keep doing it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to see more.